Have you ever caught yourself sitting across from someone new? Or even sitting alone in a quiet room and realizing that your heart has built such thick, invisible armor that you don't even know how to let true warmth in anymore? It is a quiet, subtle shift that happens after you've been burned by sudden distance, emotional breadcrumbs, or unfulfilled potential. You tell yourself that you are just being cautious, that you are protecting your peace, or that you simply have high standards now. But deep down, inside the places you rarely talk about out loud, you know the truth. You aren't just protecting your peace, you are living in fear of being vulnerable ever again. What if the very wall you built to keep pain out is the exact structure that is keeping love, connection, and real peace from coming in? This is the central dilemma every high-giving, empathetic soul faces after healing from a painful breakup, when your trust has been shattered by someone who swore they loved you and then walked away. Your brain's threat detection system goes into overdrive. Psychologists call this hyper-vigilance. Instead of entering new connections with an open, grounded curiosity, you enter them like a detective investigating a crime scene. You look for hidden red flags in every text message, scan for subtle shifts in mood, and anticipate abandonment before it even has a chance to occur. You convince yourself that if you just stay hyper-aware, you can catch the shift before it hurts you again. Have you ever stopped to realize that constantly anticipating betrayal keeps your nervous system trapped in the exact same anxiety you had when you were with them? Hypervigilance gives you a false sense of control, but in reality, it keeps you imprisoned by your past. When you view every new person through the lens of the person who hurt you, you are essentially making innocent people pay the emotional debt of a debtor who defaulted. You mistake anxiety for intuition, assuming that every spike in your heart rate is a warning signal rather than a reflection of your own unhealed fear. You become so terrified of being blindsided again that you destroy promising connections before they even have a chance to bloom, or you push away people who are actually capable of showing up with safety and consistency. What happens when you learn to distinguish between the alarm bells of your past trauma and the true guidance of your intuition? Disarming that alarm system requires you to reevaluate what high-value standards actually look like. Most people confuse protective walls with healthy boundaries. A protective wall is built out of fear. It says, "I will keep everyone at a distance so no one can ever get close enough to hurt me." A healthy boundary, on the other hand, is built out of self-respect. It says, "I am willing to open my heart, but I will observe your consistency over time. And if your actions do not align with respect, I have the power to walk away." Walls isolate you from real intimacy, while boundaries allow you to engage with the world courageously, knowing that your security does not depend on their behavior, but on your own self-stewardship. If your security comes from your ability to enforce your own boundaries, why are you still so terrified of taking another chance on love? You remain terrified because you are still operating under the assumption that getting hurt again would mean your complete undoing. You remember the sleepless nights, the nausea in the pit of your stomach, and the agonizing self-doubt that followed your last heartbreak, and your mind whispers, "I cannot survive that a second time." But look at where you are standing right now. Look at the clarity you have gained, the psychological patterns you have decoded, and the self-worth you have reclaimed. You are no longer the naive, unguarded version of yourself who gave away their power to a conditional partner. You have evolved. Have you ever given yourself credit for the incredible resilience you built while recovering from the very pain that tried to break you? You survived the exit of someone you thought you couldn't live without, which means you have already proven that your survival is not dependent on anyone else's presence. When you truly internalize that reality, the fear of vulnerability begins to melt away. You realize that opening your heart is not a gamble where you risk losing your soul. It is simply an invitation for someone to meet you at your level. If they step up with consistency, depth, and emotional maturity, they get to share in the beauty of your life. If they pull back, deactivate, or fail to appreciate your worth, you no longer collapse into self-blame. You simply recognize their limitations, hold your head high, and show them the exit now that you know. You can trust yourself to handle whatever comes. How will you choose to step into your next chapter with unshakable emotional freedom? Stepping into unshakable emotional freedom starts with fundamentally redefining what a high-value relationship looks like. For so long, you may have been conditioned to believe that chemistry is measured by intensity, that magnetic breath, taking spark that makes your heart race and your thoughts spin around someone 24 hours a day. But psychologically, that chaotic, overwhelming intensity is often not love at all. It is your nervous system recognizing familiar patterns of unpredictability. When you mistake emotional anxiety for romantic passion, you unconsciously gravitate toward partners who trigger your old wounds, continuously chasing the high of winning over someone whose availability is constantly in question. What if the very feeling you've been calling chemistry was actually just your body sounding an alarm about their inconsistency? When you begin to heal, your entire internal gauge for attraction undergoes a quiet revolution. You start to realize that true compatibility feels far less like a roller coaster and much more like coming home. Grounded love doesn't keep you up at 2 a.m. dissecting text messages, wondering where you stand, or feeling like you are one wrong sentence away from losing them. Genuine connection feels calm, steady, and clear. It brings a profound sense of ease where you can speak your truth without fear of abandonment, and where your vulnerability is met with respect rather than withdrawal. Have you ever stopped to consider how much energy you will liberate when you stop mistaking peace for boredom? This is the obstacle many people face when shifting into healthy dynamics. Peace initially feels boring to an anxious mind. If your nervous system is addicted to the high-stakes cycle of chasing, waiting, and worrying, a partner who is consistent, present, and clear can feel surprisingly quiet by comparison. You might find yourself thinking, where is the spark? Or why doesn't this feel as intense as before? But that intensity wasn't depth, it was panic. Learning to appreciate peaceful love requires you to retrain your nervous system to find comfort in safety, recognizing that a partner who shows up predictably is not lacking passion. They are simply offering you stability. If real love is characterized by stability rather than constant chaos, why do you still feel hesitant to lower your guard with someone who is actually consistent? You hesitate because trusting someone who is genuinely safe requires a level of vulnerability that armor cannot provide. It is easy to hide behind the drama of an unavailable partner. As long as you are fighting to win them over, you never have to face the terrifying prospect of being truly seen yourself. But when someone stands in front of you with open arms and zero games, the ball is entirely in your court. You can no longer blame their distance for your fear of intimacy. You have to step out from behind the wall and allow yourself to be known, flaws and all, without the guarantee of an emergency exit. What happens inside your self-respect when you finally stop playing defense and start actively choosing what enters your emotional life? Playing defense means reacting to who chooses you. Active choosing means deciding who qualifies for access to your heart. This is the ultimate shift from scarcity to abundance. A person operating from scarcity asks, "Does this person like me?" and spends all their energy trying to fit into that person's expectations. A person operating from grounded self-worth asks, "Is this person aligned with my values? Are they consistent? Do they have the emotional capacity to build the kind of life I want?" You stop auditioning for a role in someone else's story and start evaluating whether they have earned a place in yours. How many times have you settled for being chosen by someone, completely forgetting to ask yourself if you even liked who they were? When you step into the role of the chooser, your boundaries become effortless. You don't have to deliver angry ultimatums, write long explanatory texts, or try to convince an inconsistent person to treat you better. The moment someone demonstrates a pattern of disrespect, hot and cold behavior, or emotional withdrawal, you simply accept the information they have given you about their capacity. You don't take it personally, and you don't try to fix them. You simply adjust their access to your life, closing the inner circle and reserving your deepest energy for those who show up with equal investment.
Now that you are no longer auditioning for love and have reclaimed your place as the chooser, how will you protect your peace as you move forward into your future? Protecting your peace moving forward doesn't mean becoming cold, cynical, or untouchable. It doesn't mean standing guard at the gates of your life with a sword, waiting to strike down anyone who makes a mistake. True emotional protection is soft on the outside and firm on the inside. It is the quiet internal certainty that no matter who enters your life and no matter who chooses to leave it, your fundamental sense of worth remains unshakable. You no longer view a potential relationship as the missing foundation of your life, but as a beautiful addition to a house that is already built on solid ground What happens to your relationship with yourself when you stop looking for another person to complete you and start inviting them to complement? When you shift from looking for completion to seeking partnership, the entire energy of your love life transforms. You stop entering connections from a place of emotional hunger where every small shift in attention feels like starvation. Instead, you enter from a state of internal abundance. You bring your full self to the table, your laughter, your depth, your ambitions, and your values, without holding back out of fear and without overgiving to secure a guarantee. You give a potential partner the freedom to show you who they are while giving yourself the freedom to observe without rushing to attach your identity to the outcome. If you are no longer rushing to lock down an outcome, why does the uncertainty of the future suddenly feel so much lighter? It feels lighter because you are no longer relying on a relationship to serve as your emotional insurance policy. You realize that the goal of life was never to secure a guarantee that you will never experience disappointment or heartbreak again. The goal is to build such a deep, unshakable trust in your own resilience that you no longer fear disappointment. You know that if someone turns out to be inconsistent, you have the self-respect to walk away. If someone betrays your trust, you have the emotional tools to heal. And if someone chooses to walk away, you have the clarity to know that their exit is their choice, not a measure of your worth. How much freedom enters your spirit when you finally realize that you can handle any ending because you are the true creator of your own beginnings. That realization is the ultimate form of personal sovereignty. It allows you to love with an open, courageous heart while maintaining absolute boundaries around your dignity. You no longer shrink yourself to preserve a connection, nor do you silence your voice to keep someone comfortable. You recognize that the right person for you will never ask you to trade your self-respect for their presence. They will not ask you to apologize for your depth, fight for basic communication, or negotiate for standard consistency. They will see the value of what you bring, and they will meet you with an equal commitment to honor and nurture the bond between you. What if the heartbreak, the silence, and the painful lessons you endured were all leading you toward this exact moment of unshakable clarity? When you look back from this new perspective, the entire story changes. You see that the people who walked away were not taking away your future. They were clearing out the space required for you to grow into your true power. The doors that closed were not rejections of your value. They were redirections away from dynamics that would have kept you small. Every tear shed, every text left unread, and every night spent searching for answers was simply part of the fire that refined your standards and taught you how to love yourself fiercely. Why will you never again look at a love that left as a personal failure, but as the catalyst that brought you back to your own heart? You will never look at it as a failure because you now carry the ultimate truth. No one who is truly meant for you will ever require you to break yourself to keep them. You are allowed to let go of the pain. You are allowed to release the ghost of who they were, the fantasy of who they could have been, and the burden of trying to fix what was never yours to repair. You are free to take a deep breath, step forward into the light of your present, and write a future defined by self-respect, grounded peace, and a love that honors everything you are. Now that you hold the full blueprint of your emotional freedom, how will you take your very first step into this brand new chapter today?